An archipelagic country in Southeast Asia with over 17,000 islands, also known as the Emerald of the Equator. A country formerly colonized by Dutch colonizers on its vast history with a capital city, which is rapidly sinking due to uncontrolled extraction of groundwater. Welcome to Indonesia, a country many tourists consider traveling to. You might want to add it in your bucket list before it's too late. Want to know why? Stay tuned until the end of this video. This is HEL World, where knowledge is served about a life you deserved. Chapter 1. History. When the sea level was lower and Asia was connected to Indonesia by a land bridge, the first inhabitants of Indonesia arrived around 40,000 years ago. Then, around 10,000 BC, a new wave of people arrived at the end of the last ice age. For nourishment, they initially hunted animals, gathered shellfish, and gathered herbs. By roughly 2500 BC, they had mastered the cultivation of crops such as taro, bananas, millet, and rice. But by 700 BC, the Indonesians had mastered the art of producing bronze and iron. Also at that time, wet rice farming was made available. To control the flow of water to their fields, Indonesian villages were compelled to cooperate. Over time, organized kingdoms arose. Since roughly 400 BC, Indonesia has traded with countries like China and India. Additionally, brought to Indonesia were Hinduism and Buddhism. The Indonesian empires reached their zenith in the 8th century AD. A Hindu kingdom by the name of Selandra existed in the center of Java. In South Sumatra, there was also Sriwijaya, a significant Buddhist kingdom. Sriwijaya flourished between the 7th and the 13th centuries, growing into a maritime empire that ruled over parts of the Malay Peninsula and western Java. It served as a Buddhist educational hub as well. The Sriwijaya Empire, however, split apart into various nations in the 13th century. During the 17th century, the Dutch rapidly expanded their dominance over Java and the Moluccas. The Dutch government seized control of its holdings in 1799. In 1816, after taking control of Indonesia after the British won the war in 1806 to the Dutch, Indonesia was handed back to them. In 1848, 1849, 1858, and 1868, the Dutch engaged in conflicts with the Balinese. The full conquest of Bali did not occur until 1906. The Indonesians fiercely resisted the Dutch attempts to reclaim the country, forcing them to retreat. Only Java, Sumatra, and a portion of Indonesia were included in the 1949 Dutch agreement to accept independence. After the Dutch grant Indonesia independence, the country first runs under a form of parliamentary democracy. However, in February 1957, President Sukarno put in place a new political structure that he called guided democracy. While the power of parliament was drastically reduced, his own power increased significantly. The final Dutch companies in Indonesia were taken over by the army in October 1957. In September 1965, the communists in Indonesia tried to stage a coup. Suharto was given the power he needed to restore order by President Sukarno. Following the coup, Suharto imprisoned and executed a large number of communists. However, Sukarno's popularity declined, and on March 11, 1966, he transferred his executive powers to Suharto. In 1966, Suharto commenced his autocratic rule. Suharto provided stability, nevertheless, and under his direction, Indonesia's economy recovered. In Indonesia, oil reserves were first exploited in the 1960s. After 1973, the high price of oil was advantageous for Indonesia. Suharto announced his resignation in May 1998 following unrest in Indonesia. In 1999, elections were held, restoring democracy to Indonesia. The economy of Indonesia is currently growing gradually. Chapter 2. Interesting facts about Jakarta. Being the capital city of Indonesia, Jakarta has become one of the top tourist destinations in the world and has become one of the busiest and crowded cities in the planet. Thanks to its economy's rapid advancement, the development of Indonesia is off the charts. You might know a lot about Jakarta, but here is the top 5 interesting facts about Jakarta. Largest oceanarium in Southeast Asia. When SeaWorld Ancol first debuted as SeaWorld Jakarta in 1996, it was the biggest aquarium in Southeast Asia. Along with the main pool, alligator pool, shark pool, and sea buddies pool, it has the renowned Antasana Tunnel. A museum for its history. The old town of Jakarta is home to the Jakarta History Museum, popularly known as the Fatahillah Museum or the Batavia Museum. The structure was constructed in 1710 as the Stadhuis or City Hall. The Jakarta History Museum, which established in 1974, features artifacts from the city's prehistoric past, Jakarta's establishment in 1527, and the Dutch colonial era from the 16th century to Indonesia's independence in 1945. Theme parks. Dunia Fantasi is located in Jakarta and offers more than 50 rides and attractions. The theme park is divided into 8 regions: Jakarta, Indonesia, Asia, Africa, America, Europe, and Fantasi Hikayat, which features architecture from ancient Greece and Egypt. The National Monument. Indonesia's Monas Tower is a 132-meter tall tower in the middle of Jakarta's Merdeka Square, the Republic of Indonesia's national monument. It was erected to honor the fight for independence. Construction started at 1961 with accordance to President Sukarno's orders. The Ragunan Zoo. The 140-hectare Ragunan Zoo is a home of more than 3,122 animals, including birds. Numerous species of animals are under danger of extinction in Indonesia, as well as everywhere in the world, are preserved in this zoo. The construction of the zoo is aged back to 150 years ago. Chapter 3. Why Jakarta is sinking? Jakarta is grappling with sea level rise, just like many other coastal cities throughout the world. However, the largest city in Indonesia also faces a distinct issue. The bulk of the city's inhabitants must extract groundwater to survive because there is little access to water there. And the city is sinking as a result. The city that is sinking the fastest right now is Jakarta. North Jakarta has sunk 2.5 meters in 10 years and continues to do so at a pace of up to 25 centimeters per year in some places, which is more than twice the average rate for coastal megacities worldwide. The city of Jakarta is receding by 1 to 15 centimeters a year. Strong surges, cyclones, and waves caused by climate change make the problem of rising water worse. Furthermore, heavy downpours from upstream or local rainfall frequently cause Jakarta to flood. The lack of sufficient water for the majority of the population, however, is the main factor contributing to the city sinking. The town has enough of fresh water because 13 rivers pass through it and 300 days of rain fall there each year. Since areas that were once marshlands with mangroves have been covered in and built over to make place for shopping centers, office buildings, and apartment buildings, the problem is that this water is not maintained. Almost all of Jakarta's wetlands have been replaced by concrete jungle. Lack of water for the majority of the people is the main factor contributing to the city's sinking. The town has enough of fresh water because 13 rivers pass through it and 300 days of rain fall there each year. The longer water is taken, the less water there is, which causes the soil to contract and collapse and causes the ground above it to sink. Pumps won't be able to complete this on their own. According to scientists, aquifers typically replenish themselves spontaneously whenever it rains, despite the fact that some depths of the earth would never be able to replenish their water. This has made floodwaters much more dangerous during high tides and rainy seasons, especially when combined with sea level rise. Like in 2007, when one of the worst floods to ever hit Jakarta struck. Chapter 4. Rebuilding Jakarta. Plans to move Indonesia's capital have long been discussed due to the issues that Jakarta is currently experiencing. Due to flooding, high temperatures, and diseases associated with stagnant water, the Dutch pondered leaving the city, which was then known as Batavia during the colonial era. Successive administrations have floated plans to move the capital since Indonesian independence in 1945, but they never materialized. The administration of President Joko Widodo, also known as Jokowi, is currently moving forward with a new project that is expected to cost roughly $35 billion. The East Kalimantan province of Borneo will become home to Indonesia's capital city, which is now located in Jakarta on the island of Java. The city was then given the Sanskrit name Nusantara, which roughly translates to archipelago in English. The government will turn the new capital into a low-carbon super hub that will help the technology and healthcare industries and encourage sustainable growth outside of the Java island. However, the creation of the new capital requires significant investment, which offers several prospects for foreign firms. The government will provide just under 60% of the $35 billion needed for construction, with the other 40% coming from private sources. A regulation that offers a variety of fiscal and non-fiscal incentives to entice international investors to Nusantara is currently being finalized by Indonesia. The steering committee for the new capital has been put together by President Joko Widodo with a group of powerful individuals from politics and business. These people include the former British Prime Minister Tony Blair and Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan of Abu Dhabi. With a population of almost 30 million, Jakarta has experienced rapid urbanization, making it the world's most populated urban agglomeration. Jakarta is the center of government, business, banking, trade, and services. Inadequate investments in physical infrastructure have long plagued Jakarta, which is now infamous for its traffic jams and flooding. Due to traffic congestion and flooding, Jakarta loses about $6 billion in productivity each year. Since the city does not have a drinking water piping system, residents must extract groundwater, which leads to over-extraction and the land gradually sinking. This enormous project offers potential for investors from a wide range of businesses as the new capital, Nusantara, would lie on a 632,850-acre site, approximately 4 times larger than Jakarta. It's difficult to comprehend the development's sheer size. The new administrative seat of Indonesia will be built over an area of inland forest that is more than 200,000 hectares, or nearly 3 times the size of New York City. For the growth of urban utilities, toll manufacturing, seaports and airports, network and communications, among other things, Nusantara will need both soft and hard infrastructure. The presidential palace, the central government headquarters, the housing areas for government employees, and the military and police headquarters will serve as the starting points for this progressive implementation. There are many opportunities to create new renewable energy projects because the fresh capital is being generated from scratch. This is true even though the Kalimantan provinces are well known for their exports of coal, gold, oil, timber, and palm oil. According to studies by the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, the total capacity of wind power, biofuels, solar power, hydropower, and other renewable energy sources in the East Kalimantan province can reach 20 gigawatt. This sum is made up of 65% solar electricity and 26% hydroelectric power. Geothermal energy is yet another potential renewable energy source in the province. Chapter 5. Conclusion. Indonesia is a rich country with its 17,000 beautiful islands. It's no wonder why it's one of the top tourist destinations worldwide. However, Indonesia also proves that it is important to protect the environment, fix problems related to pollution, and have a rural plan when running a big and developed country like Indonesia. It shows that no matter how rich you are, no money wealth can help when nature takes action. How about you? Would you like to travel in Jakarta? What do you think should be done to fix these problems? Are you excited to see their new capital city? Let us know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and click the notification bell icon so you will not miss another HTL World video. Again, this is HTL World, where knowledge is served about a life you deserved. See you in our next video.